sentiments are split this morning as Bitcoin's price hangs in the air around that 10.5 thousand level. The order books on BitMex have dried up as the CFTC has launched an investigation. China legally protects Bitcoin, though, so again, sentiments split, and an old man yells at Bitcoin this morning. Let's break it all down and take a look at the current Forex and cryptocurrency markets in today's exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Welcome to Breaking Bitcoin, recorded live in the studio Friday, July 19th, 2019, your daily source for market updates, sentiment, and news for traders. My name is Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at CrackingCryptocurrency.com. Hopefully you guys are doing fantastic today, wherever you happen to be tuning in from, and whether you're watching us from across YouTube, Twitch, DLive, Facebook Live, or on Roku on the Investor News app. If you guys want to support the show, make sure to subscribe, follow, share, and engage in the live chat. And for you YouTubers, hit that thumbs up button. Today's episode is brought to you by... Whoa, wait a second. We hit 6,000 subs on YouTube. Scott, why didn't you tell me? I demand a thank you graphic to be shared on social media after the show. No, seriously, I just want to say, we hit 6,000 subs over here on YouTube, and I just want to say how thankful we all are here at Cracking Cryptocurrency and on the Breaking Bitcoin show, all the staff, to have 6,000 subs. That's absolutely wild. Scott and I and the rest of the team are absolutely humbled. Thank you guys for your interest, for your continued support, for your continued activity in the chat. Thank you guys so much, because we could not come here and do the show every single day without your support, without you guys showing up every day and helping us out, giving us great ideas to talk about, commenting on our ideas, helping us grow as a show, telling us what we're doing right, telling us what we're doing wrong. So thank you guys so much. And it is a continued pleasure to be here and be a daily part of your lives, as you guys are a daily part of our lives. So thank you guys so much. Having said that, of course, today's show is brought to you by the Cracking Cryptocurrency Premium Trading Group. If you are an aspiring trader, an experienced trader looking to sharpen your skills and better adapt to the cryptocurrency or Forex markets, or just looking for a community in which you can grow and boost your skills together, then check out all that the Premium Trading Group can offer to you. Our education focuses on technical strategy, backtesting, automation, strategy, statistical analysis, portfolio growth, capital preservation, and lifestyle coaching. To check that out today, visit premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com to select a package that's right for you. That's premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. All right, we've got a fantastic show for you guys today. We're going to talk about so much. We're going to talk about BitMex a whole lot today. If you guys missed yesterday's show, I highly recommend you guys go watch that. It's one of the best shows that we've ever done. Yesterday, we talked about leveraged trading, how it actually works, how inverse futures contracts work, all the nuances that you're going to want to know stepping into margin trading. I know a lot of traders are afraid of margin trading. They don't understand margin trading. In cryptocurrency, it's different from other asset classes, the way that margin works, the way that limited risk exchanges work. BitMex, ByBit, Deribit, they're all limited risk margin exchanges, meaning you will not ever end up owing the exchange money. The moment you lose your money, they say, no, buddy, we're not letting you lose any of our money. So there's no debt, there's limited risk. The way that margin works appropriately is so that you can keep your funds in cold storage while still trading a correct position size on the exchange. It is not there to be abused and to use high leverage, to take on a larger account than your risk tolerance allows you to. That's also known as degenning. That's not the use of leverage. That's not the use of margin. So go check that out. The timestamp obviously is there, and actually we're going to be publishing that later as a standalone, because I think that is one of the most important things that a lot of traders want to know and need to know. We also answered some fantastic questions. We talked about altcoins as investments, Bitcoin as investments, fundamentals to consider thinking for the long term, whether price is baked in, what fundamentals are baked into price, how investors are wrong, how the market can be wrong, and the cognitive bias and influence of YouTubers and other influencers in the cryptocurrency space. So last night, some premium trading group updates, and then we'll get to the charts and we'll give away some crypto, and we'll do all the fun stuff we do every single day. We did the VIP Ask Me Anything session last night. It was a fantastic session. We went over some fantastic topics last night, so let me just pull that up real quick just to refresh. So last night in the VIP Ask Me Anything, we went over what books should we read to teach us and help us improve on our discipline and our focus that are non-trading related, hedging using multiple accounts, using long and short derivative options to hedge against our USD value or whatever our fiat value is, and our BTC value if you want to base your margin in Bitcoin. We talked about hedging with options. We talked about using the RVGI and other exit indicators, position sizing in Forex and on Awanda, how to calculate lots, when to do a Forex daily scan, when to, we talked about Minx and Wadatar explosion indicators, how to select a custom value for average true range, when to use median average true range, custom average true range, or average true range. Reversal baseline bounces, where should we take profits, how should we set those trades up, how to avoid slippage on platforms like ByBit and Binance. We also had a long discussion on ATR values and execution of trade flow, and then considerations for larger capital traders as we have in the group. So if you guys are in the group and you missed that AMA, definitely go check that out. I moved last week's session over to the premium start packet for premium members who missed that session live. We talked about optimizing our entry on that one. We talked about scaling into positions, taking alt versus BTC trades against alt to USDT trades based on market activity, how to measure your profits, what it means to beat the market, how to become a professional trader, all that and more we covered in that session as well. Also, last night I refactored the code for Minx, which is my primary indicator. So that is now done. So Minx is now refactored. I'm actually going to be displaying it on today's stream. So actually, I'm going to pull that up right now so that is ready to go when we get over into the charts. And just one moment. Let me give this a refresh. Hopefully you guys are doing really good today. Let me know in the chat. Okay, here we go. We're going to open. Here it is. Okay. There it is right there. Add to chart. All right, fantastic. Now we'll just move that. We'll just leave that it is, and we'll move it up later here in a little bit. We'll go over some of the new features that I've added to Minx, some of the better things that are there, and obviously I've refactored the code. It compiles quicker, it identifies signals better. It's just a big rewrite and update. And that's one of the great things about being in a group, in a community with other people who are using the same tool set, is that all of the traders in our group have unique ideas and suggestions that they contribute back to the group, and everything gets better as a result. Everybody's trading improves when we all work together. So, and it's not just the tools, it is the rules. So I also want to thank our current Discord Nitro boosters. We have 7 boosters right now. So who's going to help us get to 10? If we get to 10, the server improves for everybody. So if you have Discord Nitro, you want to support the show, you want to support what we do, you guys can go over to discord.krakencryptocurrency.com and boost our server with your Discord Nitro. We'd highly appreciate it. And we have a special role waiting for you in the wins if you do that. Let's head over to the live scene. I love that intro too. So here we are in the live scene. So I want to thank Adam Borikowski for his fantastic questions yesterday. Again, that was a big segment of yesterday's show. Very good questions. He was yesterday's YouTube comment giveaway winner as well, coincidentally. And let's start off today's show, as we always do, by giving away some crypto. So here we are, yesterday's show, the current paradigm and the coming economic collapse, how to prepare yourself. Let's pick a winner. Congratulations. And that was Tomas Riha. How much crypto do you tip, dude? Well, you're going to find out if you get a hold of me in the Discord at JustinWise5696, and I will tip you some crypto, my good man. If you guys want to participate, if you guys would like to win some crypto, we give crypto away every single day on this channel. Just leave a comment at the end of today's show and you will get some crypto. Let's go over to Bitcoin. And I guess we'll start off by moving Minx all the way up to the top. There we go. And we made it. Okay, so let's pull this open. Obviously, as you guys can see, for those of you who are familiar with Minx, there's a lot different here. I'm not going to go over everything or even really a lot of this. I'm just going to set this up the way that I want this to be right here and disable the coloring of price bars, which was a request. And we're also going to select no baseline influence on signals. And we're going to keep things the way that they are here for right now. Okay, this looks good. This looks quite good. Now let me pull up Restream Chat and Streamlabs and my activity feed so I don't miss anything. Where is that activity feed? I guess it's over here. Okay, here we go. Good. All right, I want to thank Jackie, Brian, Vahid, and Charles. Thanks so much for joining the community over there on YouTube, my good friends. It's hard. Bernard, Morse code. Good to see you guys. User GT, Midwest Attempt, Stephen Hyatt. What's going on, guys? Greg Sequin, Elijah Finch, Cryptonomics, Ferguson, All Infinity, Chad, EST Network. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Okay, so looking at Bitcoin's price today, honestly, I'm not overall. It's not a really exciting day in the market, to be honest with you. Last night when we did the AMA, last night when I posted my evening update to the guys in the group, I said I'm not really doing anything, guys. I'm not really doing anything. I'm staying hedged. I'm staying in my 1x short. I'm preserving my capital. I don't see a trade on the table. This movement happened in about 4 minutes. We talked about that last night, and then price just hung up in the air right at resistance. Not the time when we put on a long. Not the time to take a speculative trade. Not the time. The only trade that was there was the reversal bounce trade off of the daily baseline. Let's merge all scales into one on the left. The only trade that was there, in my estimation, was the reversal baseline trade, was the reversal baseline bounce off of the baseline, as we always do, targeting the baseline as a level of resistance right there. Had you done that trade, you would have netted some profit today on the movement to the downside. Intraday, you'd still be in profit today, actually, and actually have quite a good entry. You've already most likely would have taken some profit because we've backtracked half of the distance on that bullish engulfing candle from yesterday. So definitely an area where you want to be locking in some profit and moving forward with the day. For me, I absolutely remain completely hedged. I'm more short than I'm short across all my exchanges. Everything is absolutely hedged, sitting in cash, not doing anything. Because this, again, was not our trade. This was not a trade to catch. This was not a trade to take. A lot of speculation coming out today about, as it always does, whenever there's a big movement in Bitcoin about market manipulation and BitMex and blah, 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 blah. It's all nonsense, man. It's all nonsense. Every moment of the market is unique and shit happens. And as a trader, our goal is to define an edge, derive an edge, backtest an edge, and then hammer that edge over and over and over and over and over again. And you don't ever, 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 ever care about what the market is doing outside of your trading strategy. That is it. There is one way. So most people think, and again, I probably sound like a broken record, but everybody seems to think that when you're a professional trader, or if you're trading for a profit, you're watching the charts 24/7, you're catching every move, you've got this amazing ability to know where price is going to go at all times, and you're just, your trend lines are fleek, and your baselines are just a magical, and you're always able to tell when, is price going to go up, is price going to go down? Listen, as a professional, I have literally no idea. I have just as much idea as you do. All I know is that I've defined an edge in the market. I've derived an edge by utilizing statistical technical indicators, by backtesting my strategy, by implementing rules, by implementing a rule-based set, by having very on-point risk management and money management, how much capital I allocate to each trade. And over time, over months, over days, over weeks, over years, I pull in money consistently, enough to live off of, to provide my active source of income. It only requires me to really look at the charts for 30 minutes to an hour a day. That's it. I trade, on average, an active period of about 30 minutes to an hour a day. That's all that's necessary to become a professional. You don't have to do this hyper advanced, hyper involved, super ridiculous, always trying to derive and determine where price is going to go type of subjective analysis. In fact, I would say over 90% of people to go down that route, whether they're successful for a little bit or not, end up washing out because that is too stressful and the failure rate is too high. At the end of the day, people just seem to have a difficult concept understanding that if you want to be a professional trader and you have an edge in the market, that means that the only trades that are yours to take are the trades that meet your qualifications. Every other movement in the market, you should not even worry about. It doesn't matter if price moves up $1,000 or $30,000 or $50,000. As traders, we don't care. As investors, and Bitcoin as I am, now that's something that's always nice to see. As an investor in Bitcoin, I have a portfolio that includes not only Bitcoin, but other assets as well. I look at my, I check my asset valuation every month. I rebalance every month. I look at what I need to do as an investor, thinking for the long term, looking for income that is going to take care of me and my family for the rest of my life. Because my whole idea here is that I am building a pool of assets, of investments that return passive income to me and that grow over time. So it's a balance of growth investment and dividend investment, or passive income return on investment yield. So investments that actually pay out money. These might be dividend generating stocks. These might be investments in things like staking, which actually return actual funds every single month. for me having my money in the market, right? This is also franchises. This is real estate, things of this nature. Those are areas where you as an investor can place your money that is going to return active investment and also represents the ability to grow. However, when we're looking at passive income investing, we're looking at what's going to return us, generate income every month. Whereas growth investment, as you're looking to buy something, it's not going to generate returns every month, but it's going to grow in value. And when we sell it, we're going to make profits. So there's a little bit of a difference when we're looking at that. When it comes to growth stocks, I'm not really interested in growth stocks. I'm interested in dividend stocks, but again, I digress. Just plans for you guys to be making for your investment future. Now, as an investor, I'm definitely interested in the growth of my portfolio with appreciation of price, right? So it's nice when I see Bitcoin rise from like 0 to, whatever it is, or, when I see Bitcoin go from 3,000 up to about 10,000 right now, that's fantastic for my portfolio. That's Bitcoin that will never be touched because that's a long-term investment. But as a trader, as for my trading stack, which returns my active income, all I care about that is generating cash every month to pay my bills and live. And I don't have to answer to anybody. It's just me, my mind, and my tools against the market. And that is a fantastic way to live. It's not that difficult to do. All it requires is patience, discipline, and just following through on your plan. So I feel like I say that every single day. So sorry about the rant, guys. Let's get back into the technicals. Broken records, most played. Yeah, no shit, man. So anyways, on the daily, I don't see a long here setting up what our explosion is still bearish. If we look at what Minx is actually doing for us, Minx does have us out of our full risk short. We actually got that crossover yesterday on yesterday's candle. Minx crossing above the oversold threshold and Minx crossing above the noise line right here, just telling us, whoa, baby, go ahead and step on out of that full risk short, man. Just go ahead and relax and take your profit and move on to the downside. Because as we talked about, Minx did signal the full risk short right here, where we close below the baseline, where Minx crosses below the zero line, where Wadatar explosion confirms, and CCI even down there at the bottom also confirms the movement to the downside, RVGI being crossed under as well, which is something we also do like to see. Now, again, anyways, entering on the full risk short here, smashing out take profits on the way. Us in the group, we hit 2 of 3 take profits on that. And then again, that pullback, getting out on the very last little bit of our position at a worse price, but that's absolutely fine. Again, making good money on the way to the downside. All right. Now we are in this death triangle. So I'm going to talk about death triangle is not the right word. Death zone. I talked about this in the AMA last night. So I want to talk about this area, this pattern area, right? And this is the area between either the primary baseline or the tertiary baseline and the secondary baseline. Okay, so where is our secondary baseline? Our secondary baseline that we're using here on the stream is the 55 period daily exponential moving average. Our primary baseline is the 13 period exponential moving average, and the tertiary baseline is the 21 period exponential moving average. So I want to go show you guys some charts here. Let's go look at LTC USDT. All right, here's LTC USDT on the daily, and I just want you to notice this pattern where price comes down to the secondary baseline after being in a bullish trend for quite a while. We're in a bullish trend for quite a while, and then we have a trend reversal. We break down below the primary baseline. We actually break down below the tertiary baseline, which, as we can see, as occurred over here at the very end of June on LTC USDT, was the first time that happened ever since the bullish initiation. Well, not the first time since the bullish initiation, but we come, we enter into the bullish trend here. We have a big run up. We have a little bit of a pullback where we actually do come back down to the 55, and then we break right back above. There's very little consolidation here where there is basically sideways ranging movement. It is just to the downside and then back up. We pop back above and we go. So I want to point out this, though, which is a little bit different in stark contrast, where we actually come down through the primary baseline, where we actually get our first short signal. So here's the first short signal on LTC USDT over here on the 26th of June. We break down almost immediately. So when you get that primary short signal with Minx, I mean, generally very, very good things happen. As we can see, it was a very nice, good, strong signal as confirmed on the daily here with WADA. So price just dumping all the way down to the secondary baseline. We do have a recovery pump that forms a lower high. And then what happens? We consolidate in between our tertiary and one would say our primary as well, and our secondary baseline. We consolidate sideways and then we break to the downside. We backpedal for a correction and reject from the primary baseline. So, and again, we have this on the movement to the downside, we also have this baseline cross under. Do you guys know how I feel about baseline cross unders? When these baselines cross under in a sustained fashion, that is indicative indicative of a trend shift. So I do think that overall the crypto market is shifting into a bearish structure. We are, and I don't want to say the words bear market, because on a weekly time frame, on a monthly time frame, we're definitely in a bull market, but we have entered into a corrective phase, right? We have entered into a corrective phase where I do not think the trades to the upside are the right trades to take, because you are now trading against the established trend. The established trend is to the downside right now. And when we have consolidation or a large volume spike, or we see breakouts to the upside that are going to be sustained with volume and confirmation, then again, we'll take the longs. But for right now, I do think, and continuing on, I think that the trades are to the downside. Everybody is trained to buy the dip, okay? That is not your job. Your job is not to buy the dip. That is not how a trader thinks. That is not how a trader talks. Investors buy the dip because investors want a dollar cost average into their investments at relatively cheap prices that they think are attractive for the long run. A trader needs money now. It's my money and I need it now. Okay, so we're not buying the dip. We are trend following traders here at Kraken Cryptocurrency. So if the trend is to the downside, guess what? We're going to short. And if the trend is to the upside, we're looking to go long. We do not, has this ever happened to you? Trade goes below your stop loss. You take your stop loss off, or trades coming close to your stop loss. You take your stop loss off. And then all of a sudden you realize that, price is way below your stop loss. And you say to yourself, well, I guess this trade has become an investment. Does that ever happen to you? Don't let that happen to you. That's fine if you're an investor. That is not how professionals trade. We do not allow a trade to turn into an investment. We take the loss and move right along. Philip, man, how you doing over there in the UK, my dude? Super chat on investing versus trading, sir. Thank you so much for the 2, my good man. Hopefully you're doing very, very well over there in the UK. My brother over there at Manchester Mint United. Make sure you guys go check them out on the interwebs. JG Wentworth is now a sponsor, right? Not a sponsor, but definitely could be. JG Wentworth, hit me up, man. If you have a structured settlement and you need cash now, invest in Bitcoin. All right, now, so I wanted to point that on LTC USDT, and you can see that same structure of price being in a bullish trend, dropping down, breaking below. So here's the pattern, right? Bullish structure, trend shift, right? Where we have a local top or swing high. We get a short signal, a very good short signal that dumps down to the secondary baseline. Recovery movement that does not have legs, that just forms a lower high. So it's a brief move to the upside and then price moves sideways and down. The direction is down. We consolidate between the secondary and the primary or tertiary baseline, and then we break to the downside, right? We break to the downside. So I want to point out that same structure as we go back here to Bitcoin. Okay, so what do we see here on Bitcoin? A little bit different because, again, Bitcoin is going to be the higher volatility. This is the bellwether for the entire industry, for the entire sector. So let's just look at Bitcoin here real closely. We can see very similar. We are in a bullish structure. We end up breaking the 21 exponential moving average. We get a very short, we get that very same good short signal right here. When we break the primary baseline, price dumps down almost immediately to the 55 exponential moving average. We have a little bit of sideways for one day, a bigger dump down below the 55. Recovery pump that still forms a lower high relative to what we have over here. Keep in mind, guys, if this is a swing high, which means we need to have high and 2 consecutive lower highs on each side to form a swing high, then all that means is that this will just be yet another lower high. Okay, and we've had 1, 2, 3 lower lows. Okay, so we would be looking, logic would dictate, we'd be looking for a lower low, bringing us back down to around this level. One would even argue this level. And I think that, interestingly enough, let's actually look at this. I know we're doing some support and resistance stuff, which we don't normally do here, but I just want to point this out. Look at this level. Mark this, put a timestamp on here. This level 6178. Okay, 6178. Look at, that is where we wick down. That is, one would argue, previous support. But if we go back over here, we can also see that it is basically the floor of the market in 2017, right? So let's extend that horizontal line a little bit, and you can see that this is having very good confluence with the shelf that was established as support, the level that was broken. And obviously this was the level that even myself and most of the other analysts and traders made a big to-do about. Like, it's going to be, statistically, it's going to be difficult to break this level. This is a significant level of support and resistance, blah, 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 blah. This would be an area to target for a short. Obviously, we were all wrong because Bitcoin just gave no fucks and just blasted right through, man. Bop, boom, bop. There, I fixed it. Boop, shaboop, shaboop. Do I use, no, I saw it Morse code. Do I use volume in my trading analysis or just moving averages? I do look at volume. I think volume is one of the most important things when you're looking at the initiation of a trend. It does kind of look like Java, that, doesn't it? Okay, so anyways, now I want to point out that price level of around the $6,100, $6,000 level, right? Which wasn't significant on the way back up, but let's go look at Ethereum. Let's go look at Ethereum. Look it over on BitMex. Okay. And I want to point out let's get rid of our EMAs here for just a second. Where did Ethereum bottom at? Okay. So, bullish run up, massive fucking scam wick down to the downside, establishing a level of support, and that's exactly where Ethereum's price dropped to. Like on the nose, on literally the nose, okay? Literally the nose. And again, if we extend this line back, we see that it has pretty good confluence with the shelf that was established back in 2018, okay? Pretty good confluence there, pretty good confluence. I mean, there's obviously a variance there. It's not perfect, right? It's not perfect, but very, very close, tight level. Again, very tight with as well this bearish order block that became a breaker, right? So this is, again, going back to breaker methodology. Now, let's go back and look at Bitcoin. So, same thing. If we extend the line back, very good confluence with the shelf, and we have this scam wick all the way to the downside. We saw Ethereum's price bounce off of that level. Again, this was our first dramatic pullback after the bullish push up after April 1st when we just broke out to the upside. And as we can see here, I think that level, again, you guys know that this is not how I actually trade. I'm not setting limit orders there. I'm not saying this is where I'm going to be establishing a position or anything like that. I'm a trend following trader. So as long as the trend is to the downside, I'm going to take shorts. If the trend is to the upside, I'm going to take longs. But it's just, I think, very interesting to point out that price level and say that I think that represents a level of significance. So, all right, so let's remove all drawing tools. Let's get back into trend following and actually how we're going to put on trades. I just thought that was interesting to point out. So anyways, as it is right now, I still remain hedged short. I'd be looking for another entry into a full risk short. I think that this is not a bad area, but I'm just gonna actually relax, guys. Again, we've been making really good money. We made a ton of money on these full risk shorts to the downside, and it's just a good time to be paused, to be hedged, to be preserving our capital for the next big moves, right? It's kind of, patience and discipline is how we succeed as traders. So there's not always a trade to be taken, right, on the daily time frame. So we're going to be setting up for positional trades. We're waiting for that nice positional signal and waiting for the dominant trend, which I think is to the downside, to resume and give us another strong signal. But again, I think that at any point, you should be hedged and not having your wealth fluctuating with the value of BTC to USD. One of the nice things about shorting as opposed to selling into cash is that it's very easy to move out of your short and you're just immediately back in Bitcoin. Whereas individuals that say, well, I'm going to sell now so that I can buy back later in cash, that works if you have a disciplined strategy to do that, but often you're too afraid to buy back when price is low, and then you often just have trouble pushing the trigger. So if you just hedge up, right? If you use, either BitMex or ByBit or Deribit to actually hedge your position to the downside, to me, it's more convenient, right? And it allows me to be much more fluid and active. It actually allows me to take more trades to the upside, right? I don't have to worry about buying back into Bitcoin. All right. So anywho, having said that, let's go down and look at some lower time frames. So most likely, if the trend presumes like this, we'll be trading more on the 12-hour, we'll be trading more on the 4-hour, the 6-hour, maybe the 1-hour, and you're just looking for more opportunity trades that way. Shorter term time frames, shorter scalps, shorter movements, things of that nature, right? But again, it's not necessary. As a daily time frame trader, you just wait till the next opportunity, right? You don't always have to be active in the market. And again, so there are markets to trade. So going down to the 12-hour, we do have Minx crossing above the 0 line. Water tower explosion is basically keeping you out of any and all positions at this point in time. CCI below 0. RVGI did cross to the upside over here, telling you to get out of your short trade on this candle as well. We are bouncing off the 55 on this candle as well. So no signal to take the trade to the upside whatsoever right now on the 12-hour. Let's go down to the 4-hour time frame. The 4-hour actually did give us a long signal right here that would have generated probably not a whole lot of profit, but you would still be holding on to that trade. And again, on the 4-hour, we do see something similar, just as we saw on the daily. I think this is going to be a shorter pronounced movement. Again, something interesting just to point out, though, is as I've pointed out many times, when you consolidate at resistance, that is typically a bullish sign. So as I said last night on the 4-hour time frame, I do feel a little bullish about this. I know that it might seem in stark contrast to what I said about the positional trend. So let's understand time frames and trends and the difference between macro, meso, and micro. So macro on the daily time frame and higher. Well, actually, let's take another step back. On the weekly time frame, I think that we are in a bull market. On the daily time frame, I think that the current daily trend is to the downside. That might last a week, it might last a couple weeks. I think that on the 4-hour time frame, I think that this has a possibility to break to the upside. Not a trade that I'd want to be taking. If you were looking for a breakout trade, I would be looking for that close above the 4-hour 55 exponential moving average. But we did get that long signal over here, and we would still be in that trade. Actually, we would have gotten the no, that's a primary signal, so there wouldn't be really any reason to exit it unless you exited here at a loss or you took the continuation loss here. But we're still above the primary baseline on that trade, so it would be valid to hold that trade open. Volume is pretty lame, and this is definitely a situation, but overall, so I do see the 4-hour long to the upside, don't see the daily long to the upside, but it's not a position that I'm going to take. Also because the order books have just dried up significantly over there on BitMex. So even though I don't like to trade fundamental events, it's just too risky for me to put on a position today. Until I see something dramatically change or something different, I'm just going to be flat, be safe, and keep my position open to the downside. And something else that I want to point out, on the 4-hour time frame, once we have that trend reversal, price back testing and correcting back to the secondary baseline, rejecting, back to the tertiary baseline, rejecting, back to the secondary baseline, again, lower high, looking for a lower high. We actually are forming a lower high. So be wary of this level right here. This level right here, this shelf right above this local swing high. That's where I'd be looking to take profits if you were taking a little scalp long out of here, because the propensity for us to actually pop above resistance, grab liquidity here, and then dump back down to the downside is very real. The other area where I'd be looking to take profit as well is directly above this shelf right here. So yeah, that's how I feel about Bitcoin's price today. Let's move on to Ethereum. Let's move on to Ethereum, and on the daily, again, let's get rid of those trend lines and drawings. We are, Ethereum being much weaker than Bitcoin on today's chart. We are below the 55 exponential moving average. We have the daily cross under, which heralds to me as a very bearish sign. We don't really have a level of support until we come back down to the shelf. Although we did tap this level of liquidity, I think that that's most likely going to get taken out. But again, it all matters that the only thing that matters is where we are in relation to the baseline and what these signals are. Now, as we can see from the daily, WADA is extremely bearish with a rising explosion level. Minx is underneath to the downside. If one would have taken a continuation trade, which we don't have on the table, one would be exiting that trade. But again, there's no reason to exit. Now, what's interesting is RVGI will have you exiting your full risk short position right here on today's candle. As we can see, RVGI is crossing up to the upside. Relative vigor index is measuring the vigor, very similar to the stochastic, but in a different way. And we don't use it for initiation like most people use for the vigor. We use it. Malicious upload. Good to see you, my good man. We use it to tell us when to be out of a full risk trade. So again, definitely an area, if you caught this short with us, right, where price moved to the down, price broke the primary baseline right here, signaled the short trade right on this candle. If you've been riding this short trade with us, then it's definitely time for you to take profits, for you to remain hedged, for you to lock in that USD value that you've just made over this period in time and be looking for the next strong signal, okay? I don't see volume down here significant enough to end the bearish trend. A little bit of wibble wobble bullshit manipulation would not, really, throw me off at this point in time. Movement back up here to test resistance. Again, that baseline cross under is very significant to me, and for that reason, I will not be looking for longs positionally on Ethereum at this point in time till we have a strong reversal of the trend, which is going to require volume, which is going to require a moving average cross back over or a strong signal from Minx. So until that time, if you take any long trades, they need to be at half risk, i.e. 50% of your regular position size. Whatever your calculator tells you, if you're going to take a long trade on either Bitcoin or Ethereum, you need to divide your position size in half because you're trading against the dominant trend. You need to reduce your downside exposure. And full risk for full position sizes for any trades to the downside because you are trading in the direction of the dominant trend. Going to the 12-hour. Again, 12-hour coming back up to the primary baseline and rejecting opportunity for a shorter term entry there. But of course, Wadatar explosion is keeping you out of trades at this point in time. Going to the 4-hour. Going to the 4-hour, we did have, let's take a look here. We did have a 4-hour long signal right here on Ethereum. I believe that would have most likely hit take profit 1. Let's look and see where that was signaled here, right here. Yeah, that would have hit take profit 1. So that would have been a winning trade, and then price would have pulled back down to your entry. So about a 2% position right there yesterday. I don't really see anything today. On the 4-hour, we've closed back down below the primary baseline. We have this kind of BS low volume consolidation. WADA is still bullish, which means you can you have the go ahead to take a long trade if we do close back up above this primary or tertiary baseline. Minx is crossing below zero, but all it's going to take is one bullish candle to push us back up at this point in time. CCI is above zero as well, so I do see the intraday long, or the swing trade, the 4-hour swing trade on Ethereum potentially up here to tag maybe the 237, 236 to 238 level up here in the form of the 4-hour secondary baseline, but not again. A 50%, I take the trade at half risk if I should get the signal. Gabriel Molina says, if I have half of my trading capital 2x short, am I staying flat on my capital? So, okay, so again, I would definitely go check out yesterday's video, because it's very, very important to point out, Funk the Freak, thanks so much for joining us over there on YouTube, my good friend, on the strong way to 7,000. It's really important to understand that leverage does not matter. It doesn't matter if you have half of your capital at a 2x short or a 3x short. So the answer to your question is no, you are not hedged. You are only half hedged. All that means, all that 2x leverage means, is that you have half of your trading capital in a short, and you're only putting up half of that as margin to take the trade. So what you need to do is you need to take your entire trading capital short to be hedged. You have to take your entire trading capital short, doesn't matter what leverage you select, to actually hedge up. Your position size is the only thing that matters. Leverage just means you're going to take on less. You're going to put up less margin to take on that position size. So if you have $5,000 in Bitcoin right now and you want to hedge, you go over to BitMex, or you go over to ByBit, you go over to Deribit, and you put in 5,000 contracts short right now. It doesn't matter what leverage you select. But again, if you're going to hold that position open for a while, I'm going to recommend, I like to use 3x leverage, because that means that I've got, 2/3 of my capital that I can use on that exchange to take on trades, especially on BitMex, especially, and on ByBit, it's not a big deal, but that makes me feel more comfortable, because I know that I can withdraw that margin, or that excess that I don't need up in the trade as margin. I can do other things with it. Say I want to put that funds, I put it on cold storage is probably the best thing for you to do. So if you've got $5,000 in Bitcoin right now, that's your USD value. You're going to take a $5,000 short, select 2 or 3x leverage, pull your excess funds off, put it in cold storage, you're safe, right? And the only thing that you need to worry about is your liquidation price, which if you're selecting 2 or 3x leverage, price is going to have to pump significantly to put you into worry. But doesn't really matter, because you are hedged. So you will lose Bitcoin on the way up, but you won't lose any dollars. You'll have less Bitcoin when the trade is completed. Let's say you put on that $5,000 short right now, price starts pumping. You will have less Bitcoin, but you will have the same amount of dollars. You will have the same amount of dollars. I could become a Derby horse announcer or auctioneer. He talks super fast. Coming in on the left, we've got, I actually need script. I can't think that fast. I think off the top of my head. But yeah, I do talk fast. I've heard that my entire life. Sorry about that. And Zach Boob, thanks so much. And Ryan, thank you guys for joining us over there on the YouTubes. All right, so there's Ethereum, guys. Let's get into... Let's get into our Forex market analysis. All right. On the Aussie yen, I'll probably be exiting my position in profit if the daily candle closes like this. I don't know why my stop loss isn't there. Where's my daily? Okay, sorry. So that was the 4-hour. I don't know why that was weird. Anyway, so let me refresh, because now I'm looking at this with better, clearer, faster, fresher eyes. It's clear eyes. The Aussie yen, I actually took an Aussie yen long the other day. Right at my entry. Price really hasn't moved that whole much. You guys can see my sell limit up here. This is a continuation long signal, so really not a whole lot to do right now. Aussie dollar, no trade to be taken on the Aussie dollar as of yet. Let's take a gander here. Let's see here. Canadian Swissy. We don't, we're very close to getting a short signal right here, but Wadatar explosion is not confirming. For that reason, we will wait. Let's see here. Canadian yen, short on the Canadian yen. A little bit of drawdown today, but that's all right. Price did push back up to the primary baseline. Again, the times where we pop up to the baseline and then just consolidate for a while and then eventually move in the right direction, doesn't matter. So again, short on the Canadian yen. Don't see any signal to do anything today. Swissy yen, gonna have to exit this trade today. I'm not gonna lie. Overall doing really good on Forex, but I was up 9% on my ROI this month. I had 2 stop losses today, and then this trade right here, bringing me down to about 7.5. So still really good month. But this week in Forex has been rough. Silver taking a stab up. So anyways, yeah, so big pump from the Swiss yen today. Big pump from the Swiss yen after getting that short signal yesterday. Actually, this was the right time to enter, but I opened on the open of the next candle. Spread was a little bit high, so I got a little bit worse of an average entry on that. But again, we'll see, because how many times have I seen price pump up and before the end of the close is back down here? But again, if price closes the way that it is, I'll go ahead and exit the trade. Euro Aussie, no trade to be taking on the Euro Aussie. Let's actually take a gander. Actually, we do have a continuation short trade on the Euro Aussie today. So that is a valid continuation short trade. So we'll circle that, and we'll circle this to take another look at this here tonight. The Euro CAD is loading slowly. The Euro CAD, let's take a gander here. Don't see any trades on the Euro CAD right now. Let's see here. Euro Swissy gave the short signal right here. And that was one to definitely hold open, because we didn't really get the exit signal. We still haven't gotten the exit signal to exit the Euro Swissy. I think this was just an earlier trade. For whatever reason, that must have taken all or most of my profit on that movement to the downside, because I went short here. Trade to the downside right there. Anyways, Euro Swissy was a good trade. That was a pretty good trade right there. I think that was like 80 pips. But again, be up over 100 right now. I don't see a good signal to enter. We do have a continuation signal, but you do want to be careful taking a continuation short so far away from the baseline. Euro Kiwi, this has been one of my biggest winners. Still holding the Euro Kiwi up about, where are we at? Up about 300 pips from my entry right there on the Euro Kiwi. So just letting that ride. No reason to exit yet. Waiting for our VGI to give me a nice signal, and this thing has just dropped out the bottom. Euro Pound, ended up taking all my profits on the Euro Pound here. Price came back down to my entry after going long here. Took profits here and here. So I don't see any good signal on the Euro Kiwi. We're waiting for Minx to cross below the 0 line here and give us our exit. But we are getting the go-ahead from just about everything. CCI about to cross back down below 0 as well. So, you know, the Euro Pound's been one of those good things. So you never want to be the dude to call the top in a bull market. And the Euro Pound's been one of those just gifts that keeps on giving. So this just might be a pullback to the tertiary baseline and continuation of the trend. So, you know, again, if you're holding a long position open for a while, you feel free to hold that open. But again, just waiting to get the nice signal to go short on that asset. Euro yen, I don't really see anything going on today. We did get that short signal. Let's see, over here is where we could have taken it, and that would have been a profitable trade. If you were right, we didn't get a continuation short. Nope, didn't get a continuation short, so no reason to be listening to that. Our VGI hasn't told us to get out either. The euro dollar. Let's see here. Euro dollar, actually, we can cancel that order. Let's see here. Waiting for a continuation entry on the euro dollar right here. Don't really see one right now. This thing's been consolidating with a lot of chop, and Watt has kept us out of the bad trades right there, but not all of them. Pound Kiwi, if you were riding this continuation short trade right here, you'd want to be taking your profits today. Minx is crossing back above the noise line, telling you to go ahead and get out of the trade. Let's see here. Pound CAD. Actually closed that order right there. Took profit and exited at break even. Yeah, nothing to do on the pound CAD yet. Let's see if we can get a trend reversal and a long signal, but nothing to do yet. Pound Swissy exited the trade, went short here, took my profits here. Nothing to do for a re-entry on the pound Swissy yet. Looking at the pound yen, no trade to be taken. Pound dollar, no trade to be taken. I went short on this asset over here, took my profits here, here, and here. Just overall, I mean, good volatility, but nothing really good on the daily for a daily trend. Kiwi dollar, I talked about missing these two good trades, two good Kiwi trades. Obviously short the euro Kiwi, but the Kiwi dollar gave a very, very good long signal right here. I just wasn't able to trade. That was the 11th. I didn't actively trade Forex that day. M price moving up pretty significant amount of pips right there. So that was a good trade. I think the Kiwi CAD as well. This was one I did catch. You guys can see my long entry right here on the Kiwi CAD. I already took profit on this big candle, waiting to get the exit signal to exit the rest of my position. The Kiwi Swissy, another very good signal right here. Here's the continuation long that Minx generated right here. That, again, was on the 11th, so I missed that trade. And same with the Kiwi Yen. Again, continuation long signal on the 11th, and just a trade that I missed. Dollar CAD. Not a lot to do here on the dollar CAD consolidation. Pound Aussie. Again, I don't see a trade here either. If you were writing this continuation short right here, you want to be taking your profit and exiting the trade. The dollar Swissy. Nothing to do. The dollar yen. Entered short yesterday on the dollar yen. Pretty big movement back up to the upside, but again, no reason to exit the trade yet. Sometimes this happens. Let's see here. Aussie CAD went long, took my profits on this candle right here. Nothing to do yet on the Aussie CAD. Aussie Swissy. Again, look at that Aussie Swissy. This looks more bullish to me than not. I'm tempted to take a position on the Aussie Swissy, but I'll wait for the continuation long signal to come in from Minx, because we are consolidating on the upside in between that tertiary and secondary baseline and the primary baseline. If we get a nice close above that secondary baseline, I think this thing will run. And no movement yet from the dollar yuan. Very similar. That consolidation between the primary and tertiary baseline. Since we're coming to the downside, I would expect this to collapse, which would actually be a little bit bearish on, as you can see, this is the value of the dollar against the Chinese yuan. So I actually think that this will actually continue to move to the downside. I think this will break out to the downside. Doesn't mean that we're not going to get a pop, especially to grab liquidity somewhere up here before we head that way, but I do think the ultimate direction is to the downside. But just waiting for a nice good signal from my system to take the trade to the downside, because there's been a lot of consolidation and chop. So looking for a chop and pop, and then the actual trend. Coming in on the left, we have Ethereum testing resistance coming in hot. Bam, scam wick to the bottom. Everyone's fucked. Thanks for coming, everyone. Hey, thanks, Bam. Bam. All right, it's 12:50. Let's go take a brief look. Let's go take a brief look at our CFDs. Let's go look at the S&P 500 CFD over here on Awanda. Still bullish on traditional assets, guys. I think the stock market's going to have another maybe 2 to 5 years of continued growth. I do think that we're going to have a paradigm shift here fairly soon. That's why it's important to structure your portfolio and your investment to be all-weather, to handle itself well against an economic downturn. Again, I think Bitcoin, gold, other forms of assets, real estate, franchises, things that generate consistent cash every month are going to help you. This is why, as an investor, when it comes to the stock market, I'm interested in dividend stocks, companies that pay out dividends, because that means I'm going to get money whether the market is going up or going down. If you're only a growth investor, then you are going to be tied to the performance of the market. And that is not always a good thing. So I think the difference here for security is that when the market corrects, which it always does, and significantly, and washes out a lot of investors, I think the problem here is that people are just dependent upon growth stocks. This is all people just seem to know. People don't have a good financial education, like of what to invest in and how to preserve their wealth and how to actually build money and how to make money work for them. Whether you have 100,000 or 10,000, or whether you have 1,000, right? If you're in your 20s and you start putting $45 away every month, that's $1 million by the time you want to retire. The magic of compounding interest. So the only thing that separates you from somebody who, if you're not wealthy, the only thing that separates you from somebody who has a lot of investments working for them is time and discipline. Do you think I had all the investments that I have now like 15 years ago? No. 31. It took time to build up this portfolio. It took time to get to where I am. But I just started. I just did it. I just put the money away. I just was wise about it. I tightened my belt. I didn't go out to eat all the time, right? I didn't buy fancy stuff all the time, right? And now if I want, I can buy a new shirt because I waited and I saved and I was patient. That's all it takes, man. It's just the same with trading. Like, people come into trading and they're like, I'm going to get rich tomorrow, man. No, you're not. It's going to take a couple years, and you're going to be slow, and you're going to be patient, and you're going to learn, and you're going to grow, and then you're going to be a pro, and then you're going to be making more money than you thought you possibly could when you came in. But you're not going to make it overnight. It's not going to happen. It doesn't matter if you have access to the best signals, the best software. Your discipline isn't there. Your strategy isn't there. Your understanding of the markets isn't there. Your execution isn't there. That takes time to build. Jeff Handsome, $45 per month in your 20s by age 67 is $1 million. Assuming 12% growth per interest, which again is a little aggressive. So if you want to do 10%, then it's about $70 a month. Don't I feel dividend stocks are overpriced because of all the dividend-seeking investors? I do think that, well, again, it depends. Not every single dividend stock is overpriced. I think a lot of the bad dividend stocks, I think a lot of dividend investors don't buy good dividend stocks. I think that, overwhelmingly, the stock market is toward the later phases of a bull market. So, of course, stock price is overpriced. But to a dividend investor, that doesn't matter because you dollar cost average into the market. It doesn't matter. You buy quality stocks. You buy quality stocks for the long run that are going to consistently pay you out, that have seen market cycles, that go up, that go down. I'm talking about just bread and butter blue chip stocks. So the point is, you don't throw all your money in right now. You just start putting your money away every month. Doesn't matter what price the market is at. Again, over the last 120 years, if you just buy into the market literally at any point in time, same with Bitcoin. If you just start buying now, doesn't matter what price it's at, you make money in the long run if you just hold. If you'd have bought Bitcoin at any point in time and just held for 3 years, you made money. That's it. It's that simple. So again, that mindset is different when we're talking about investing and when we're talking about trading. So to a trader, we need to trade the market. But to an investor, you just buy. You just buy and you don't sell. It doesn't matter if you buy stocks. It doesn't matter if you buy gold. It doesn't matter if you buy Bitcoin. As long as you just don't sell, you make money. That's the big trick to investing. You just buy and you don't sell. You buy good stuff. You don't buy get-rich-quick schemes. You buy good quality stuff. You either buy good quality stocks, you invest in a small business, which is going to give you a higher rate of return, by the way, if you self-direct your portfolio. You buy good currencies, you invest in good countries, you invest in good companies, and you make money. Still driving a 98 Grand Prix. I got a 92 Honda Accord out there, man. What are you talking about? Now I've got a couple. I got a nicer vehicle, but again, I like that thing, man. I'm gonna drive that thing. I'll tell you what I like about my 92 Accord. You could fill that gas tank up with Nutella. Let's actually walk you through it. So 92 Honda Accord. You could pull the engine out, drop it off the Golden Gate Bridge, fish it out after about 6 months. Put it back in, fill the gas tank up with Nutella, and that puppy would start right up tomorrow. I'm telling you, man. Well, GUI, I mean, that's not too different from the market standard of any index out there. Where can I get 12%? BitConnect 2.0 maybe. Yeah, right. All right, guys. So we're going to be looking to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about BitMex being under investigation by the CFTC. We're going to talk about China protecting Bitcoin as property. We're going to be talking about dealing desk versus ECN or STP brokers and how that knowledge is going to apply to BitMex as far as the rumors of them taking the other side of the trade. We're going to talk about the order books drying up on BitMex and what that might mean for market makers over there on BitMex, and speculations that because the order books have dried up with the CFTC probe, that the market makers were from America. I think that's probably pretty silly, but we'll talk about that here in a little bit. And we're also going to talk about old men yelling at Bitcoin. So definitely don't go anywhere, guys. We got a fantastic second half of the show. But before we go to break, as traders selecting our exchange, no. As traders, we're going to need a very, very good charting platform. Now, if you are looking for a platform to do your charting, to apply your indicators, to do your technical analysis to, look no further than TradingView. TradingView is the charting software that we use. I think that it is absolutely amazing. I love their backtesting engine. I write my Pine code. I write my indicators in Pine. It does everything that I want it to do. It's kind of like the social media / charting hub because they've got the little social media thing on there. They've got chat rooms if you want help. It's kind of like the troll box on BitMex, so proceed with caution. But again, it's a great little community over there. It's a great resource. They're pretty reasonably priced. Again, if you want to get a higher package, or you can use it for free. But I always recommend, again, if you use something every single day, give them some money because it's worth it, and it ensures that that's going to be around. Nickel and dime things that you don't like or don't need that much, don't nickel and dime the stuff that you use on a consistent basis. Value for value, man. That's how you grow in life. That's how you grow. So if you guys want to check out TradingView, make sure to follow us over there on TradingView at tv.crackingcryptocurrency.com. That's tv.crackingcryptocurrency.com. I'm sure Scott will post the link in the chat and the links in the description down below. Give us a follow. You can use any of our public indicators. We have CC EMA, CC Ichimoku, or a part of my actual strategy, WADA Atar Explosion. Fantastic indicator. You can see that down there at the bottom of the screen. That is my confirmation indicator. It tells me when to go into trades. It confirms my primary indicator. So I highly recommend you guys go check that out. Again, that's tv.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Make sure to follow us and like some of our indicators and use them for yourself. I think that they will improve your trading if you use them correctly. And you can check out our Trading Crypto 101 playlist here on YouTube for walkthroughs and tutorials on how to use those indicators. So we'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you on the other half of the break. All right, guys, thank you so much for staying in there with me. Let me get everything back up here, sorry, and the activity feed. All right, so we've got a second half of the show that's going to be fantastic for you guys today, so let's break into this now. You guys have all heard. Oh, actually, you know what? Let me make a quick adjustment up here. I see something that is not correct. It is cutting my arms off sillily. That's silly. Why arms cut off? Okay. A little adjustment live on the fly, guys. Okay, so the Justice Department of the United States has opened a criminal probe into whether traders are manipulating the price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Now, the investigation is focused on illegal factors that influence price, such as order spoofing. For those of you who do not know, spoofing is when you flood the order book with false trades that you have no intention of actually letting execute against the market, so that you are fooling other traders into buying or selling, and then you can often dump on them or buy up price after they sell their coins, and you can get them at a discounted price. This is a very common occurrence, and I've had questions. This is a question that I answered yesterday, like, does whale manipulation occur in cryptocurrency? Yes, it does. Absolutely, it does. It also happens, guess what? In every single other tradable asset. Having a larger market share is an edge all in and of itself and allows you to do things that you otherwise would not be able to do. Now, that doesn't mean it's the only edge. It's just a particular edge. Timing is an edge. Strategy is also an edge. Now, coming off the back of this, the United States Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC, is investigating officially BitMex. This is a months-long probe. It's focused on whether BitMex allowed Americans to trade on their platform. Obviously, this would be illegal since BitMex is not registered as an exchange with the CFTC. Now, as the CFTC considers commodities, while the IRS considers them property, awesome, they have jurisdiction over futures and other derivative contracts in the cryptocurrency space. It is important to note and point out that the probe is not concluded. It hasn't determined anything yet, and that often CFTC probes do not result in allegations of misconduct. Now, I've been doing the rounds this morning, and I'm hearing, as always, a lot of the same misinformation on this subject. Okay, so as we do on this channel, let's set some things straight for the audience and for the public at large. So first off, the regulation, let's talk about this. The jurisdiction of the United States, regulatory agencies do not stop at United States shores, okay? There are many situations in which a regulatory body of the United States, or the Justice Department or law enforcement, can bring action against overseas individuals, companies, or groups. So, just because an organization is not based in the United States does not magically make them invulnerable to either investigation or prosecution or anything. It does not make them, just because they're not based in the United States, does not make them immune to the United States regulatory bodies. Secondly, the CFTC can bring action based on Bitcoin trading that occurs on exchanges that are not registered with them. They've already done this multiple times. They have brought actions against wash trading, spoofing, market maker manipulation, you name it, on exchanges not operating in the United States, not based in the United States, and not registered with the CFTC. Now, lastly, the CFTC can and has a track record of taking fairly heavy-handed action on the top in the realm of wash trading and spoofing. They're pretty hard on that. Now, how will they do this, you ask? Well, BitMex doesn't have KYC, so how will the CFTC target BitMex's customers? Well, they won't, for the exact same reason I've repeated many times. If you, as an American, or anybody that's not authorized to trade on BitMex, are trading on BitMex using a VPN to mask your IP against BitMex's terms of service, you are endangering BitMex, not necessarily yourself. Because the CFTC won't fine you. They don't care about you. They care about finding BitMex and stopping the issue that they're concerned about. So the US will find the banks BitMex uses. They will find their employees, anyone associated with the company. Now, for those of you who say that fiat doesn't touch BitMex, so how are they going to find them? Well, let me ask you this. Do you really think that BitMex is not operating with cash? They bring in over $1 billion. You think that they're holding all of that in cryptocurrency? I mean, you deposit Bitcoin to BitMex. You don't deposit cash, but think logically. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. They're not holding all of that money in Bitcoin. They are not. You're insane if you think that they are. They need operating capital. They need to pay their engineers, developers, their vendors. Do you think they're paying them in crypto? Do you think Cisco or other server-related companies are accepting Bitcoin to provide server space? Are BitMex's lawyers accepting Bitcoin as a payment? What about their taxes? Do you think that Hong Kong is accepting Bitcoin as a form of tax payment? I'm sure the People's Republic of China is just jumping at the bit to accept Bitcoin as payment for taxation. What about their employees? Do you think they're being paid out in cryptocurrency? You know, a very similar situation is our company. We accept Bitcoin as a payment. Unfortunately, we have to pay our analysts, our employees, developers, staff, server space, website costs, graphic design, audio and video equipment, you name it. Most of those vendors do not accept Bitcoin as a payment service. Now, is this anything to get freaked out about? No, I don't think that BitMex is going to go under. I don't think that, everybody's going to, that it's going to blow up or anything like that. I think it's just a moment of uncertainty, and Bitcoin tends to react, the Bitcoin community and traders tend to react to every single little bump or sneeze in the market with the kind of, with the classic like fainting woman, cliche of the 1920s, like, oh my God, I just can't, it's just, everybody just seems to react that way in the cryptocurrency community. Everything is a huge deal. We just need to be aware that all of the crypto exchanges are going to legitimize, or they are going to get torn down eventually. Regulation's coming. Nothing's going to stop that. Everyone thinks that so this is a misconception in my opinion, and this is my personal opinion, but I feel very strongly about this. Everyone thinks that the United States government, as most people think that they're just these evil Illuminati lizard lords that control everything, that they want to control the Bitcoin exchanges, for example. They don't. They just want to institute their own, everybody thinks that the United States government wants to control the Bitcoin exchanges, that they want to own them. They want to implement their own institutions. They don't. They don't care who runs the exchanges. They literally do not care. All they want is for the exchanges to pay them taxation and to follow their rules. That's it. They just want the money. Okay. Competition over brokers and market share for offering traders funds is a private market matter. It always has been. Brokers and banks compete with one another to capture traders as customers and provide the best markets. That's how they compete. That's how the trading situation gets better for everyone. So, for example, for American Forex traders, we don't have a lot of legitimate options. Awanda and Forex.com are the only two brokers I would ever consider depositing funds with. But IG just established an American brokerage, IGUS. And from what I understand, it's fantastic. I would much rather trade on IG's platform than Awanda's, honestly, even though I quite like Awanda. Now, I like Awanda. However, I have been told to go check out IGUS. That's something I might do. I might move my funds over there. That's not sponsored by the government. That's not because the government wants to have more market share or brokerage share. It's private market competition. The government will give their seal of approval to anyone who kicks money up the pathway. That's all government has ever cared about. Pay your goddamn taxes. Let us control the military. Let us make the laws and pay your taxes, right? And the reason why the CFTC is going to go after BitMex is because BitMex isn't paying the taxes because they're not registered. They could, and that's probably what will happen. BitMex will clean up. They'll fix things. They'll allow regulation, and eventually they're going to open up to American traders. But it's just not the way that it is right now because America is so stringent on our laws. So, I just wanted to. There's so much misinformation of how people think that the world works, of how people think that finance works, of how people think that banks work. And that's because most people just do not have any financial education or understand how the market works. So something to point out, something that I did want to talk about. And then this is just another article about this situation here. All of these will be linked in the show notes today. Let's talk about this. Possible market manipulation on 2 exchanges has been linked to a suspicious drop in Ethereum price. Was it also behind today's $1,000 Bitcoin price jump? Obviously, this article is talking about a 9% spike in the Bitcoin price occurred over about a 15-minute period after sustained negativity. So Bitcoin obviously, it pumped yesterday from 9,300 up to the $10,000 area or a little bit higher. Some pretty interesting comments here from Alex Kruger. I'm not going to go over all of them again. This will be available in the show notes, but I want to talk a little bit more about, let's find it here. Okay, let's talk about this. So this is a tweet from our favorite old man yelling at Bitcoin today, Nouriel Rabini. And he says, quote, insiders at BitMex.com racket told me the internal trading group follows the order flow and bets against clients to liquidate them and profit from it. And they use overloads to wreck you more. As if a dealer at a casino who knows your cards was allowed to bet against you to wreck you. Okay. So here is my problem with this. I'm not going to sit here and take BitMex's stand. I think that system overload is a huge issue. This is one of the huge reasons why I am advising people to go trade on ByBit. That is where I trade myself. I think that is much better than ByBit, or it's much better than BitMex. And again, there are so many reasons why I prefer ByBit over BitMex. Their customer service is top notch. They actually help people. They've got a great roadmap. They've got a good team. They're smart and they actually care, right? Every single situation that has ever occurred on ByBit that anybody has brought to me, customer service is taken care of. Literally every single one. I've never had a personal issue trading over there. I love the exchange. If you guys want to try it out for yourself, you can go to bybit.krakencryptocurrency.com. Link in the show notes down below. They'll give you $60 to test their platform out to trade with on margin. You can't withdraw the money, but you can use it to trade and test them out. Now, I want to talk about, I think that it's best to start off here when we're talking about this idea that BitMex trades against you. Okay, this is the theory that BitMex takes the other sides of your trades. So let's go over, this is babypips.com, okay? And let's talk about Forex broker types, dealing desks and non-dealing desks. Okay, so there's 2 types of Forex brokers. There's really 3, but let's talk about 2. There's 2 main types, and that's dealing desk brokers and that's non-dealing desk brokers, okay? So the idea that an exchange, first off, this is important. So everybody hears that, well, the exchange trades against you, man. You go long, they go short against you, man. So they make money when you lose. They want you to lose. So first off, that if you just heard that and you didn't understand really how this whole system works, how liquidity works or how markets are made, you would hear that and think that that is a bad thing. I'm here to tell you that the exchange, that the broker taking the opposite side of your trade is not a bad thing inherently. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, that's just the fucking way the system works. So let's talk about why that's not bad. So there are 2 types of brokers in Forex. There's dealing desks and non-dealing desks. Dealing desks make the market. They make the market themselves. They put up the capital and they provide liquidity. Remember, when you want to execute a trade, there has to be somebody on the opposite side of the trade from you. If you want to buy, there has to be a willing seller at the price that you're willing to buy at. If you want to sell, there has to be a willing buyer to buy at the price that you want to sell at. Without that bridge, without that liquidity meet in the middle, there is no trading, there is no market activity. Market orders are the only thing that move the market. So if you want to execute a market order, it's going to execute against resting limit orders. When you enter into a limit order, what that means is that you are waiting for a market order to execute against that. Limit orders do not execute against the books. Market orders are the only thing that moves the market, and market orders execute against resting limit orders or against other market orders coming in simultaneously. That's how the market works. So dealing desk brokers provide the liquidity themselves by taking the other side of your trade so that you have a trade to take in the first place, right? So it's not a bad thing because they are not linking people. They're not a bridge. They are the bridge. They are the other side of the trade. They are the counterparty. So when you're buying, the broker is selling to you, right? They are there to provide liquidity. In a P2P or ECN market, that is the role of a market maker, okay? So the idea that an exchange would take the opposite side of your trade is not inherently a bad thing. That is how they provide liquidity, okay? Now, they make money off of this. So they are literally providing the liquidity for you to take your trade. They make their money in Forex by a spread, which is a higher price than the market rate. Okay, so say, you want to take a trade, you're going to market buy, you are going to actually pay a few pips higher than the actual market price, and the exchange keeps that as profit. Now, if you win your trade, the exchange loses money because they have to, your profits are coming from their losing trade. Okay, your profits are coming from the exchange's losing trade. So a winning trader takes their profits from the exchange, and the exchange offsets that loss by the spread they charged you. And if you lose your trade, well, the exchange is profiting off of you, and they're getting the spread on top. It's just the hustle. It's just the way that it works. Another way that exchanges offset that loss if you're a winning trader is because they are aggregating the losses of other traders, right? Because we do have to remember that most traders are losing traders, okay? Now, non-dealing desk brokers, they're a bridge. They create the bridge. They link two parties together. They provide an order book that market makers come onto and make the market, and then other retail traders come in and input their trades as well. So they just connect you, right? And the way that they make money, is generally by charging commission. Okay, this is non-dealing desks charge commission. So they link two parties together in a P2P fashion. They do not take the other side of the client's trade, and they do not directly provide liquidity toward the market. So it actually takes less capital to create an ECN dealing desk than it does to create a dealing desk operation, to create a non-dealing desk. Now, they are bridge builders. They build a bridge between a buyer and a seller. Now, they charge a commission for the bridge building, or they raise the spread a little bit because they're not making money. They don't make money whether you win or lose a trade. They're just connecting you, right? So their capital is not directly involved in the trade, but their capital is involved in building that bridge and maintaining the system. So they charge a spread, or they charge a commission, generally almost always a commission and a spread as well. So BitMex is by nature. According to their official website and all public statements, BitMex is an STP, which is a straight through processor. Okay, this is a straight through pathway. They don't provide the liquidity themselves. They host the order book. They provide the platform, and they connect two parties together, PTP. So in this scenario, BitMex taking the opposite side of the trade is unethical, illegal, and wrong. All right. I don't really think that BitMex is most likely taking the opposite side of the trade. They're not. They are an STP. There's two types of dealing desk non-dealing desks. There's ECNs, which is an electronic communications network, which is basically linking multiple pools of liquidity together. And then there's an STP, which is just one pool of liquidity, one order book. This is BitMex because they're not tapping into other pools of liquidity so far as we know. So they are an STP, a straight through processor, straight through pathway, however you want to call it. Now, that means that BitMex is not taking the opposite sides of trades. Were they on top of charging commission, that would be quite unethical. So, however, I just wanted to point out that there is nothing inherently bad about an exchange taking the opposite side of a trade if BitMex is going to be the market maker, right? If they're going to make the markets, but they're not. Market makers are getting rich on BitMex. Market makers do not. Market makers are independent entities that come to BitMex to make the markets and make money on top of that. However, it seems as if the market makers have fled today. The order books are extremely thin over there on BitMex, and that's another reason why I'm completely hedged short. The last time that I saw the order books this thin on BitMex, was back in November when we dropped from 6K to 4K almost overnight. So just keep that in mind as we continue to move forward, guys. And I'll link this babypips.com article in the show notes, so you guys can go definitely check that out. This is really good understanding to have about Forex trading. Okay, last thing to go over today is over there in China. China has again today recognized the legality of Bitcoin as a commodity. Now, this is not the first time that China has affirmed Bitcoin's legal status in China. Back in 2018, the Shenzhen Arbitration Commission declared that the asset Bitcoin should be, quote, protected in accordance with law and is legal to own and transfer. So for all the FUD about China banning Bitcoin, I think that's nonsense. Bitcoin is a legally protected asset, and Bitcoin has been since 2018. It's just illegal to trade it and participate in ICOs. It is a protected asset to own and to transfer in China. Now, I don't see Chinese crypto exchanges popping up anytime soon, but this is in conjunction with what's happening in the United States. It's just indicative of a massive massive paradigm shift, right? We have the president of the United States talking about Bitcoin, Congress losing their minds over LibreCoin. Now, this doesn't mean global adoption or dismissal of fiat is right around the corner. It just lets us know in the crypto space that we are definitely doing something right. So let's go into a couple things here. Hopefully you guys can see this really, really well. There's some good tweets, and I thought these would be helpful to just kind of talk about here in the market. This is a tweet from Senior Jeffy Bai. He says, BG, Irij, which is, he's a Ripple promoter. He's talking about problems in paradise. Hayden Tiff is kicking your shitcoin bag so hard, right? So I just wanted to show these screenshots of Tiffany Hayden's tweets. If not following Hayden Tiff over on Twitter, she's pretty funny to follow. So I'm going to go through this thread and talk about my opinions on this. Why don't you think banks, financial institutions, and MTOs will run validators when they trust in liquidity and actually use XRP? It is blah, 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 blah % cheaper to help secure a network with others than do what they are doing now with fiat. Tiffany Hayden says, if nobody does now, there is no reason to think that they magically will. If Ripple shutters tonight, the network won't last much longer. Let's see here. Let's find this one. Okay, then XRP boy quoting, but if China controls Bitcoin, essentially, then China and the United States are in cahoots, I guess, then right. And this is, again, I've talked about this, like how stupid this is to say that China controls Bitcoin mining. Just because there's a lot of miners over there because they provide cheap liquidity does not necessarily mean that a government has control over Bitcoin. Who do you think is invested? The more miners that are over there, the miners are the ones that are invested in maintaining the network. Who do you think is going to stay up all night? Which is exactly what she says. So China doesn't control Bitcoin. I don't think anybody, including the United States government, cares who mines it. I absolutely agree with this concept. I think that people get all up in their frickin' arms about all this Illuminati, conspiracy, lizard lord nonsense, and they don't look at what actually makes sense in the real world. The government doesn't care who mines Bitcoin as long as they have control over the network. They're not going to invest in mining Bitcoin themselves. They just can use that's not their hustle. They can just tighten the screws so that whoever is maintaining the network, if they were so interested, to apply leverage to get a result that they want. Okay, but again, the nature of Bitcoin itself is designed to be government hard. Does that mean that it's implemented perfectly? No, but does that mean that we are set up to be resistant against government attack in the first place? Yes. And then the majority of mining pools that control Bitcoin are in China. Again, that doesn't matter where they are. That doesn't matter where they are. There is competition inherent in the network. They're not colluding together to run the network. They are all out for their own interests. The only reason they're in China is because of cheap energy costs, right? If that changes, guess what? They move somewhere else. Just because a mining pool is in China doesn't mean they're tied to the future of the nation state of China. They are tied to the health and stability of the Bitcoin network. And the only reason they're in China is because of cheap energy costs. Cheap energy costs. That's it. So, what control do you think that these mining pools have over the price of Bitcoin? Okay, what control do you think that they have? Or again, I like where she goes with this. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you a different way. How do you think this differs from the XRP ledger? Which entity other than Ripple do you think closely monitors the network, feels a sense of urgency when validators start going down, alert others, pulls all night troubleshooting sessions, etc.? Exactly. This is the point. This is the Bitcoin mining pools are inherently invested in the health and stability of the network because there is a financial incentive. If they manipulate the price in the short term, they get punished. All right. So going over here to another little tweet thread from Andrew Chen. American kid, and this is just kind of indicative of really where you want to set your mind on in the path. If I'm talking to my friends here in America, if I'm talking to anybody across the world, especially my brothers over there across the pond in the UK, based on the latest statistics, American kids want to be astronauts, and American. So here's the most popular. Here is the most popular answer of what do you want to be when you grow up. So in the United Kingdom and the United States, a vlogger or a YouTuber is the most popular result. Everybody wants to be YouTube famous. And over in China, the most popular answer overwhelmingly is an astronaut. Again, this is why I'm bullish on the Chinese yuan long term, guys. Okay, this is why I'm bullish on the Chinese economy. This is why I think that Chinese stocks are good things to look at. Okay, and this is pretty. It's just sad, man. It just go back and study the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. All this stuff is pretty indicative to see when a nation is losing its primary morals. Now, this is where I differ though from most other doomsayers out there, right? I think that we're going to have a significant change. I think that we're going to have a significant change over the next 50 years. In my lifetime, I think that we're gonna have a significant paradigm shift. We're already seeing that paradigm shift now. It began when Satoshi Nakamoto authored the white paper. Things changed after that, if you just go back and look at how events have transpired in global economics. But my point is this: I think that America is on a really bad path. I think that our morals are dying. I think that our ethics are dying. I think that our education is terrible. I think that individuals are not being taught how to. I know that our public school system is terrible. We need to teach more STEM. We need to teach, but more importantly than that, we need to teach money. People do not understand money. Although I don't think that income inequality is a huge issue, I do think that the current level of the wealth gap is bad, especially if you look at that. So that I don't believe that income inequality is an issue in and of itself. We have a meritocratic system. The problem is that if you compound that issue then with absolutely no education to those who are in the lower economic strata and give them, you need knowledge to grow yourself out of poverty, to grow yourself out of the middle class, to enter into to become wealthy, or just to build a sustainable level of income, to not live paycheck to paycheck, to have financial security and stability. You don't have to have a whole lot of money. It's not about being rich. That's dumb. It's about freedom, and it's about having enough money to not have to worry about money. That's the whole point, right? That's wealth. Wealth is having enough money and being smart with your investments to not have to worry about money throughout your life, and especially into your older age. That's true freedom. And then again, if you want to bump that up and do what we do, which is trade and invest wisely so that we are earning money so that we don't have to work for anybody ever in our lives, so that we are the own source of our own financial freedom, that is freedom in my opinion, to not have to worry about money and to be my own boss, to control my own finances, to be in control of my financial future and my financial independence. But I will say this, I think that it's a significant problem when you compound income inequality with no education about money, right? There's absolutely no education about finances that is realistically taught. It should begin in elementary. It is my firm belief that education should focus on three main things. That's STEM, or critical thinking, critical problem solving thinking, applying that to the real world, solving real mathematical and scientific problems, ethics, and philosophy. You need to be taught. I don't understand. We should be teaching ethics and philosophy in elementary so that kids are learning how to think about thinking, how to think. This goes right hand in hand with critical thinking. How to ask questions, how to rock the boat, how to develop a firm ground of morality, how to develop a firm ground of ethics that is going to guide them in their interpersonal relationships and their business relationships throughout their entire life. And then on the back of that, the other main thing that kids need to learn in school is financial education, how to save, how to build wealth, how to invest, how to evaluate a business deal wisely, and how to start their own company. This is what kids need to be learning. They don't need to be learning almost all of the nonsense that's being shoved into their head that comes out the other side and falls off. Almost nobody remembers what they learn in school because it doesn't matter. If you don't remember what you learned in school and you don't use it on a daily basis, what did you go to school for 12 years for? It is absolutely nonsense. That's why my kids don't go to school. That is what it is. My kids are learning what they need to learn to be successful in life: philosophy, ethics. They're learning business science. They're all the things that they need to be successful in the future. Okay, I think that's how kids should be raised, and I think we've got a long way to go for education. It's not just America that sucks at this. There's lots of countries that suck at this, but there are other countries that are better, much, much better than this, because they focus on financial education. Now, I think around the world, a whole lot needs to be done about applying ethics, but again, different countries are better at this than other countries. So I don't think that America is going to collapse. I'm very bullish on my country. I love my country quite a lot. I'm a very proud American. The problem is, I think that we're going to have an issue moving forward. I think that we're going to see a significant paradigm shift, but I have faith. I believe in my own ability and in the rest of my country's ability to become better, to grow over time, right? I don't think that we're going to have the collapse of the Roman Empire. I don't think it's going to be anything like that, but I think we are going to see a significant change in social structure. I think that there's a lot of problems in the way that things are going on right now. Now, going over to Joe Kernan at Squawk Box, I don't know if any of you guys caught this, but this is Joe Kernan. I don't think the audio is working right now. But But definitely, I'm going to link this in the show notes too. Definitely go check this tweet out. Just go check out Squawk Box at CNBC. This is Joe Kernan talking to Steve Mnuchin, and basically Joe Kernan saying, "Well, hey man, you're saying that Bitcoin is used for all this like illegal stuff. I mean, we were doing illegal stuff, money laundering and illegal activities well before Bitcoin, man. People are using it for the dollar. Like they're being pretty successful." And Steve Mnuchin just absolutely saying, "No, man, no. Like dollars, no way, man. We've got strict regulation. There's no way that dollars are being successful for money laundering or anything like this. This is absolutely ridiculous." I get exactly what he's saying. I mean, he's not incorrect, but for him to take that stance, it's not philosophically valid. It's not philosophically consistent for him to say that Bitcoin is bad, which he really didn't say that, but he said the bad things about Bitcoin are its use as money laundering, therefore we need regulation. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but the fact that, he's just so bullish on the United States dollar that it's never used for manipulation or money laundering is just absolute nonsense. It's the most used currency in the world for drugs, for guns, for terrorism, for money laundering, you name it. So, but definitely Joe Kernan putting in some work over there, putting in some work here for the people, man. Okay, so let's slide over here into the live scene and let's get back over to the price of Bitcoin, which is, it's the price of Bitcoin. Really hasn't moved much. Not gonna lie. Let's go back down to that 4-hour time frame. That was the only counter trade setup that we were looking for, is potentially this breakout trade above the secondary baseline, looking to target these two pockets of liquidity. That's pretty much it. But again, the daily trend, I think, is to the downside. I think the safer trade is obviously to be hedged. Now, one nice thing about hedging with leverage is that if you then want to try and take a trade to the upside, you're just operating from cash. Brisk, what's going on, man? Do I enjoy being a YouTuber or a teacher? I really do, man. I really like that I get to, come on the air every day and talk with some amazing people and share my thoughts and opinions. I don't have to do what I do. There's definitely drawdowns to doing what I do. Some facets of my edge in the market have been revealed, which is fine. I retain my own edge in the market. I've been doing this for a very long time. I'm very comfortable and confident in my ability to trade and in my edge in the market, because my edge derives from understanding strategy and backtesting and going with whatever works over time. So it's fairly easy to pick up stakes and switch to a different strategy. But, I think the reason why I started doing the show and the reason why I founded Cracking Cryptocurrency in the first place with my partners is because I saw that well, first off, we have a lot of passion for Bitcoin as a currency, as a replacement to fiat, the mission statement of Bitcoin, the goal of Bitcoin, the idea of decentralizing a lot of what's going on in the world, about standing up to what is evil in the world, about making a better world for everybody, about improving the world. I've been very successful with my independent ventures as a trader, as an investor over the last 10 years. So again, it's nice to be in a situation where I don't have to worry about money, where money is now working for me and I'm successful in my trading, and I can come on this show and show people how to do it themselves, because it is absolutely a pathway. It is absolutely a pathway that is available to just about everybody with hard work and discipline. And it might not be the right hustle for everybody. It might not be the right thing for everybody, but for those who want to do it right, I'm here to guide them how to do it and actually provide, in my opinion, no nonsense information about things that a lot of people are intelligent about. Are my opinions right all the time? No. Am I right about everything all the time? No. In fact, I'm wrong a lot. But I come on the show and I provide my best analysis, my best opinion. I do the best research that I possibly can. My team does the best that they possibly can, and we're just here to try to be honest, ethical actors in a space that is overwashed with scammers, fraudsters, fake traders, bullshit artists, everything else, man. Cash is king in business, man. Just shorted from 10,410 to 10,368. Awesome, Chad. Thank you, Non-Escu. What exchanges besides Coinbase and Binance are good? I like Binance, but I'm getting my crypto out. So I would say Kraken is probably going to be a good bet. I think that they're going to see a lot more liquidity as Binance is shutting down. Poloniex and Bittrex are going to be other options that are available to you if you're in the United States. But I would definitely check out Kraken because they have margin as well. You know, more so than Bittrex has fiat now. You can deposit USD, which I like. I like to see fiat on my exchanges. But I really think that Kraken probably provides the best. I know a lot of people think that Kraken is really controversial. They're kind of tied up with Bitfinex a little bit. They've been around forever. And, you know, they're in the United States. They're based out of the Bay Area, so... Gemini as well, but the spread, you know, the fees on Gemini are really, really high. Brisk, I bought my first Bitcoins in March of 2016. You know, I had obviously known about Bitcoin before. I had talked about Bitcoin a little bit before, but I had never actually pulled the trigger and bought. And then I went pretty hard in 2016, took a pretty sizable position in Bitcoin. You know, later on got some Ethereum, some other coins as well, and moved into trading full-time from Forex in later 2016. Uh, is it bad to use ByBit in the United States? Again, you would be, just as I said with BitMex, you're endangering ByBit. You're not necessarily endangering yourself. It's against their terms of service. It's not against the law. As far as got yours in 2013, but forgot about it for years. Yeah, I feel you, man. I've had a lot of friends like that. A lot of friends back in the 2012 to 2014, 15 area. You know, when we were trading Forex really, really hard. That, you know, we're talking about, you know, using it on the darknet and Silk Road and all that stuff. Cryptonomics is talking about Kraken. Are you guys talking about? You guys are talking about not being able to withdraw from an exchange. Are you talking about Kraken? Because I've had funds on Kraken, Kraken has two platforms, so they have one interface and then a second interface. I kind of like their second interface, and I've never had problems. I've never had problems withdrawing funds from Kraken. Have I talked about why BitMex and Binance are shutting out U.S. traders? Yeah, because the United States regulatory agencies are looking at them really closely because, you know, we want the money. We want taxation. We want them to get registered. You know, there's really two sides to this, man. There's one side that says, okay, yeah, government evil, government bad, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, regulation good. We don't want wash trading. We don't want spoof trading. We want more legitimate exchanges. There's nothing wrong with a lot of the, you know, people are going to go back and forth and say any kind of government regulation is bad. But I'm going to say that there's a lot of, you know, getting wash trading out and getting spoof trading out is not a bad thing. Now, unfortunately, a lot of other stuff tends to come along with that. Like, for example, over in the Eurozone, traders only have access to 2x margin, which is absolutely ridiculous and just neuters your ability as a trader. Margin is one of those magical tools that when you use it correctly as a retail trader, actually allows you to trade at a higher tier level and actually make decent returns and be safer as a trader. But, Siacoin is the next crypto Hulu. Have you heard this? Have you read about this? No, I haven't, but Scott would be overthrilled because that dude's sitting on a massive bag of Siacoin. He got it for, you know, he mined it, so. Binance will lock your account if you withdraw using a VPN that doesn't match previous logins. Okay, so again, I've never had a problem withdrawing from Binance either. And I'm pretty sure that that might be true. But Binance has already come out and said that if you are in the US and you don't take your funds off by September, they're not going to take your money. Your funds will be there in your wallet and you can withdraw it when you want. Have I ever been attached with FXCM? I used to trade on FXCM right before the Swiss Euro crash. Yeah. Yep. That's when I went into, that's a little bit before I went into cryptocurrency so hard. And now I trade with Wanda. FXCM went bankrupt, got bought out. Trade.kraken.com. Is that going to be the is that how you access the other? Right, yeah, here's their other interface. Yep, trade.kraken.com. Yep. Let's see. ACDC says Kraken is worthless. Yesterday, I could not transfer my BTC to ByBit for about an hour and a half. Took 4 support staffs, 4 emails. You know, I won't lie. I mean, I don't think Kraken's the best exchange. I'm just saying if you're an American trader, you don't have a lot of options. You know, you don't have a lot of options. And the nice thing about Kraken is that you can hedge. Their funding rates are really, really low. I know a lot of people that hedge on Kraken. But yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I would caution you, especially if you're an American trader, don't withdraw directly to the exchange that you're trading with a VPN on from your American exchange that you may or may not have done KYC AML. You know, withdraw to an Electrum buffer and then send it. Just an idea. Bullseye says, are the scripts in my indicators open to play with and make adjustments for different time frames for traders in the group? Yeah. I mean, the actual code is not, but you know, again, you can make all the adjustments to time frames that you want. You know, we can go look at the. I'll be putting out a new tutorial video on the new version of Minx and all the new features. I hope to actually maybe record that today. I wanted to get all the indicators knocked out this week. At least the guys in the group, and then I'll do the public indicators a little bit later on, like CC EMA. Just going back through and rewriting them all to be congruent with version 4 of Pine Code, and just refactoring. Do I think a new exchange is coming for Americans? Yeah, absolutely. Binance US is coming. How are fees calculated on ByBit? Well, you've got your funding fee rate, which is going to be displayed in the contract information. It's just like BitMex. It's a perpetual swap contract. So every 8 hours, you're either going to pay or make the funding fee rate based on the position size of your account. And then it's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing as BitMex. So you pay a taker fee if you take liquidity with a market order, and you get paid a maker rebate if you provide liquidity with a limit order. It's 0.075% and 0.025%. If you live in the United States and trade in the United States, why would you use a VPN? Are there fees to be avoided? No, I just think it's important to protect your digital privacy and security. It's not the exchange's information or business where I'm trading from, what my IPS is. What is Minx? Minx is my primary proprietary indicator. Kraken has leverage, yes. Let's see. Honor L is talking about claims my HOT token was moving 5% on 22,000 position every 5 minutes. Huh. Yeah, I don't know anything. I don't know anything about that, man. I mean, listen, although I do like Binance quite a bit, I think that as with most things, when you reach out to these people, you kind of understand if they're going to do something or not. You know, you take like most people that I talk to, they have an issue with an exchange where something doesn't work right, but they don't take screenshots. They don't contact customer service because they just think that, well, they're not going to do anything. I mean, try, man, reach out. For example, I had somebody in the group that, ByBit, just like BitMex, pulls price data from Kraken as a basis for their index price. Well, Kraken's API glitched out, and that caused some traders to get filled at a different price from Mark, and that happened on ByBit. And one of the traders that I was talking to lost $300. He reached out to ByBit. They gave him the $300 back. Closed mouths don't get fed. Thank you, Lefty. Blockstack investment, considering the pre-sale myself, I went over the Blockstack investment a few videos ago. I would recommend going and watching. Again, there's always timestamps to everything that I talk about. Talked about Blockstack for probably about 15 minutes. I'd definitely go watch that episode. It's in the title of the show. I think it's first ICO approved in the United States by the SEC. It's really not the first one because before that you had the props, which is YouNow's platform token. It's not a platform token, but it's an ICO that was approved by the SEC. But they're two different things. But yeah, man, I don't think that I think that Blockstack is a pretty good company. I'm not going to recommend it. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. You guys are responsible for your own investment decisions. I'm also not going to comment on whether I have or have not invested in that ICO, but I don't think that it's a bad company. I don't think that they have a bad track record. I think that they're well capitalized. I think that they have a working product that is pretty neat. It's basically an SEC approved ICO for something like Ethereum. It's a platform to build decentralized applications on. I think they're heavily focused on mobile, which is a good market share. I think they've got good advisors. I think they've got a good team of angel investors. Does that mean it's going to be a good investment? And that because again, it's not paying dividends, right? Unlike the index token fund over in the UK, which is paying dividends. And that's really, as an investor, that's always what I'm looking at, right? I'm almost always looking for dividends over growth, right? Because I want to know, because if I buy something, I pretty much want to hold it forever. And I want it to just give me money all the time. And dividends do that. And this is also why, like, mining, staking, things like that, if you find the right thing is good. It's a good place to park your money. It's not to say that I don't do growth investing, because again, I'm invested in Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't pay dividends, so I'm just relying on its growth. Same with any other cryptocurrency that I'm invested in. And the same with precious metals. Precious metals don't pay dividends. So I think it's definitely something worth checking out. Greg Seguin. You get access to all the indicators, my friend, when you join the group. Robert Henson says, thoughts on KuCoin? I think it sucks. But I would say that in the level of suckness, it's like, it's probably the highest. It's probably the highest in the level of like, all these exchanges suck. So maybe I'm being biased. When Binance disallows United States users in September, we will no longer be able to transfer into ByBit and BitMex without signaling US wallets. I don't understand what that means. Like, you can use any wallet that you want. You don't have to use the wallet of an exchange. Go download Electrum, put your Bitcoin on there. You can send it wherever you want. Yeah. I've actually heard that. That you are right, BitMex trades. I've heard that same analogy before of how, well, with forks we do kind of get dividends. The only, the problem is like they're not consistent and this and that and the third. But yeah, you're right. Again, I don't, somebody just said Payham was right. I don't see how you guys are right. I mean, that seems like you guys only think that only exchanges allow you to transfer crypto. Like, just go get a wallet on your phone, man. Go download Mycelium. Go download Electrum. Go download Armory. Send your Bitcoin there. That's called, it's called a desktop wallet. Armory, Exodus. Get a ledger. Do I think Linode will go anywhere? Is that what you meant, EST? I think so. I think DLive is a pretty nice platform. $80 forks so far. And rising. Actually, that's interesting. I have, check this out. I was going to go over this. Here we go. Look at this. This is a pretty cool article. This is from visualcapitalist.com. Mapping the major Bitcoin forks. It's like a subway train. We've got Bitcoin. We had some old school blockchain forks. We had the first soft fork, the first hard fork. Then we have a Bitcoin knot that resulted in, Libitcoin and the first MASF, the BIP148 client. We had an unintentional fork. That was the unintentional fork was the BIP96 or BIP78 or something like that upgrade, where they were using. I'm gonna get this wrong. Where they were using a certain database feed, and then when they upgraded it, it crashed the network because there was a orphan block, and it hard forked the entire network, where you had half of all Bitcoin miners that were processing on one chain and half that were processing on one chain. That's a big problem. And then you have Bitcoin ABC, BTC1, BIP148, Bitcoin Gold Diamond, and dozens of others, Bitcoin Classic, Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Core SQ, and then Bitcoin Core, which is branched off of that, ABC and SV, SegWit 2X, Bitcoin. I like how Bitcoin Dark's like, not a Bitcoin fork. Like, you got all these others which come from Bitcoin, and then you got Bitcoin Dark, not a Bitcoin fork. So yeah, this is pretty neat. Armory is less user friendly, but I think Armory is a superior wallet, but it is a pain in the ass if you don't know how to use it. You kind of need to know what you're doing. Electrum's like super easy, quick, fast, easy. But you can't make a BIP39 SegWit compatible wallet with Electrum. You can make native SegWit wallets, which start with BC1. The problem with native SegWit wallets is a lot of exchanges aren't compatible with them. So you can send funds to any Bitcoin wallet with a native SegWit wallet, but you can't receive funds from every wallet yet. Electrum will let you make a legacy wallet too. But Luke Dash Jr. says that people should not be using native SegWit wallets or SegWit compatibility wallets because he says it's bad for the network. So he says everybody should still be using legacy wallets. He says that SegWit's not ready. So I don't know. He's pretty smart. But I use it. I use SegWit compatibility wallets. I don't use legacy wallets anymore. Do I see the death cross, the 4-hour death cross? I don't use the traditional metrics for death crosses like the 50 and the 100. I used on the 4-hour. We had for me, what my metrics are, the 13 and the 55. We had that crossover right over here. It confirmed here. Moved us to the downside. We'd actually be looking for consolidation, maybe a little bit brief pop above. I don't think there's going to be a lot of legs to the upside, but definitely I'm more bearish than bullish, man. The daily trend is to the downside. SegWit 3. So any address SegWit 3 addresses are SegWit compatibility wallets. They're not native SegWit wallets. Native SegWit wallets, which are Betch32 addresses, always start with BC1. And BC1 addresses can send their native SegWit capable, but they can't receive funds from most exchanges. Most exchanges have not upgraded to full SegWit to native SegWit. Most exchanges have only upgraded to SegWit compatibility. Yeah, I feel you. We just got ledgers in the office. We like them. Jai English says, I'm having trouble exiting trades. Any advice? I currently use relative vigor, but still really hard to get continuations and knowing exactly when to exit. Just keep working on it, man. Just figure out exactly what the trigger that you want to be to exit the trade. You know, RVGI is not going to signal a continuation trade unless you're using it for that, but I would recommend, you know, you can have an indicator to give you primary signals, an indicator to give you continuation signals. You know, you're going to want some baselines, which delineate trend. All right, guys, it's about time to hoof it. And before we hoof it, as a trader, selecting an exchange is going to be one of the most important decisions that we make. I am often asked as a professional, what are the most important metrics to evaluate when selecting what exchange to trade on? And my answer is always the same. Security, ease of use, and customer service. You want your platform to be secure. You want it to be easy to use, but still offer you the features that you want as an advanced trader. And you also want there to be good customer service. And I know of no other platform where I choose to trade my Bitcoin future products than ByBit. I've made the switch to ByBit quite a while ago. I recommend everybody try ByBit at least. See how superior it is to BitMex. There's a lot of things that go over on BitMex that I don't like, and I've never had a single issue on ByBit, as I talked about. They put a video out on YouTube the other day about refunding a customer's XRP that he accidentally sent to their testnet. They had to go and look at code to figure out how to do that. I don't know another exchange that goes above and beyond for customer service like ByBit. I think they're going to take over the industry. If you guys would like to check out ByBit for yourself, you can use my link. It's bybit.krakencryptocurrency.com. It's in the description down below. They will give you up to $60. They will give you up to $60 for free in margin to test their platform out. So you can take the Pepsi Taste Challenge yourself and figure out why I prefer them and why our entire team does as well. Again, that's bybit.krakencryptocurrency.com. With that said, thank you guys so much for joining me for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. I've been your host, Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor here. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. If you guys would like to join us in the premium group and have access to our signals, have access to our indicators, have access to our educational coursework and material, access to our analysts and mentors, and our private Discord community, you guys can check out premium.krakencryptocurrency.com, learn the rules, and use the tools that are helping others become successful. If you guys want to check the podcast out at a later date, make sure to check out breakingbitcoin.money for links to all your favorite podcast catchers so you can catch this show live on your podcast to help with your cleaning so that your cleaning is less or more bearable. And also so you can see the show notes, everything that we went over today, links to everything that we discussed, and as well as links to everything else and timestamps. So hopefully you guys have a very fantastic day. If you guys want to support the show, make sure to like, follow, share, subscribe, and engage in the comment section down below, where if you have any questions, opinions, concerns, sarcastic remarks, and or death threats, you can leave me a little text blurb and I will try to get back to you within the next 48 hours. Be good, guys. Be safe. I will not be here this weekend. I won't be here for the next 2 weekends. I have my son's birthday coming up next weekend, and because I'm going to spend that weekend with him, I'm going to spend this weekend with my daughter. Otherwise, they're like, Dad, you don't love us. So, but awesome for you guys. We have some fantastic pre-recorded content that we are going to be publishing, so you can look forward to a regular Cracking Cryptocurrency video every single day. I will see you guys back live in the studio on Monday, hopefully with a new studio setup, because I've got 2 new desks, I've got some new lighting, I've got a new green screen, hoping to set that up, and I will see you guys on Monday. Trade safely and be good, guys.